listening to the Liquid Shape Podcast with your host, Cody Perez.
Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Liquid Shape Podcast with Cody Perez.
And Mariah Longfellow.
And my God, did we ever slack. Like, I swear to God, every week we get closer and closer to slacking, but we truly are slacking. We're at the last final hour. We're here at 7:04 p.m. on Sunday, and the episode, I still have to edit it and upload it so that it can release tonight at midnight.
Nailing it.
No.
Super busy.
Yes, always super busy. But, this week was especially busy. How was your week? Let's start with you.
I mean, our patio is almost done. It was supposed to be done this week, but excited for that. It's been a great week because what did we do yesterday?
We'll start down the line of the beginning of the week, and then we'll get to yesterday because you're kind of jumping around there. So,
well, that was the highlight of my week was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was amazing, but you saved the best for last, right? I would say.
What else did I have this week?
Well, I released.
You have more.
I released a brand new single.
Yes.
My Endless Battle. So anyone out there that hasn't checked out the video or heard the song on all major streaming platforms, American Overdose released My Endless Battle, a song about mental health awareness and suicide. It's a very personal subject and written straight from the heart, and something that I have struggled with for years. And I made a big post about it online. But on Wednesday, the 29th, we released the single, and we released the video, and also released a brand new t-shirt that has a positive message that says never give up. And
it's a really cool looking shirt. Go check it out.
Killer shirt. Please go check it out. Go check out the single, check out the video, pick up some merch from us. It really does help us, especially as we're getting ready to hit the road for a couple of shows out towards the Midwest this summer, and merch sales definitely help us. I do want to say this. We tried very, 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 very hard when we were making these shirts to work with a national big suicide awareness hotline and helpline. I hit up 4 of the biggest ones in the country. Either they didn't get back to me even after I reached out to them multiple times and multiple times and multiple times, or they got back and said, sorry, we're not interested. I was literally offering them all of the money that was benefited from this, the profit part of it, to go back to them so they can, for their organization, and they declined it. I'm like, why would you do that? Don't you need money? Or I don't know, maybe they didn't want to be associated with a heavy metal band or something. I have no idea. But we did try. So now the money, we're just using it to keep American Overdose going, because we're doing a positive thing too. We are bringing music to people that they can relate to and connect with, and hopefully help heal them and help get them through any craziness that they're going through. And I believe strongly that we promote a very positive message. So yeah, go check out My Endless Battle by American Overdose on all major streaming platforms. You can check out the video that we did, and Brick did a badass job. You can check out my posts about, all the people who want to think about that. But that was a major thing that happened. But also, yes, the patio started getting worked on Tuesday. It was supposed to get started on Monday, but I don't know what happened. So they pushed it to Tuesday, and they're not done yet, but they're about to be done. Hopefully tomorrow, supposedly. We'll see.
They better be.
They better be. Kind of a little upset with the company. I'm not going to name their name on here, but communication is not their strongest suit, and you can see that in their Google reviews. And you'd think that after a lot of people complain about that they would want to change it and they'd want to improve, but clearly they haven't, because I've been the one that's having to reach out to them to get clarification on where they're at with it, or when they're going to show up, or what's happening. They don't bother.
It's just wild to me. I'm like, I know you kind of like contractors get a bad name and whatnot, but it's like you do shit like this. It's like, just communicate. And it's just like little stuff. Like Friday, we thought that they were going to be out here to finish it. And Cody messages the guy like afternoon, like 12:01, like, hey, like, when are you guys coming? Well, yeah, we don't work on Fridays because we do 4 weekends. It's like, well, what the fuck? You said it only going to take a couple days and you're still not done. You started. And then Tuesday it got pushed back. They didn't get here till like 1:30 on Tuesday. I'm like, I get you guys have things planned, which is fine, but just communicate that.
Yeah, I don't like it when people tell me something and they don't deliver. Like, I'm all about, you tell me something, I plan for you to stick to it. Just like as if I tell you something, I'm going to stick to it no matter what. I'm not going to let anything, literally anything, get in the way of when I give you a deadline of when I'm going to start something or finish something.
Yeah,
I get it done. And
it's like you're paying for a service. Wouldn't you want to keep your client who's paying you thousands of dollars, like
thousands and thousands of dollars
like,
for
it's
this
not
project?
like it's just like $200. Like, it's thousands of dollars. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and I'm just not happy with them. I probably won't use them in the future. Just as a heads up, They're
The
doing a
patio
great job.
looks great.
Looks
the
great.
work good. The workers are awesome.
But I'm just not happy with the communication, and they're over promising and under delivering. That just doesn't that doesn't fly with me, especially when I'm spending, like I said, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on this project.
But on the positive side, yesterday.
On the positive side, yes. Yesterday we celebrated one of the earlier parts of my birthday, because I do celebrate my birthday a couple of times every year throughout the month. But we'll probably do something on the actual birthday. My actual birthday is May 8th, which is next Saturday.
And you're going to be how old?
40. I'm hitting 40 finally.
Made it.
In my fucking prime, so I'm excited about that.
So it was a blast yesterday having all of our friends and family over.
Yes, we had, not all of our
not all of
friends
our
and family, but a good chunk of friends and some family. But
it was just a great day of love.
Yeah, very thankful for everyone that showed up. Everyone that showed up was very special to me, and just very thankful they were here celebrating with me. Lots of good food, good laughs. Surprised by some of the people that showed up, which made me happy, of course. Because I wasn't expecting them, but that's like I said, I love surprises. Mm-hmm. You got me a Chucky cake.
That's right.
It's a pretty badass Chucky cake. I grilled a bunch of carne asada, like 6 pounds of carne asada.
A bunch of wieners.
Got to get the wieners for the friends that love the glizzies, because I have a couple friends that love the glizzies. Shout out to them. And chicken legs. We had lots of different salsas and burgers.
Cupcakes,
cookies, and sodas, NAs, and the people that drink beers, of course. Of course, the day that I need to have my damn grills working, the fucking Traeger decides to fucking shit on me.
Its hot rod went out.
The hot rod went out on it. I didn't have time to go fix it, so I was like in panic mode. But luckily, shout out to Mariah's dad, Rod. Huge shout out to Dad. Daddy wasn't there, but he was there here. He was there. We had a Green Mountain Green Mountain smoker pellet grill that he had given to us, a mini one.
Just different.
And then we had my Weber, so I improvised and just made shit happen to get everything done. It worked out perfectly. And then today I went to Ace Hardware, so shout out to them for having the hot rod that I needed for my Traeger, and I fixed the Traeger myself instead of having to say fuck this Traeger after 12 years or whatever of having it. I fixed it, and it's working better now than ever. You saw that.
Because how hot did it get in like 20 minutes? Like
less than 10 minutes. It was like 375 degrees. It's never been that hot. No matter what I turn it to, it doesn't ever get above like 325. So now that the hot rod's in there, installed and replaced, it's working like a champ. So,
like a tap.
Like a tap. Shout out to Ricky. Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys would say.
Ricky LaFleur.
So yeah, great day yesterday. We were up late, hanging with friends, just chit-chatting away. And then I had to get up early as fuck today because we had practice. And it was great getting with the fellas, with the American Overdose boys. Good laughs today, good practice, rehearsing a new song called Oxygen that we'll start playing here pretty soon. And that'll be the next single in the next month or two that you guys will all hear. It's a very radio-friendly and very catchy song. I love it. But we're going to start playing it live. So we've been practicing that like crazy. What else?
Judy came.
Yeah, shout out to Judy.
So it was so good. And then she spent the day with me today. So it was just fun to catch up because we haven't seen each other in a long time. So it was fun just to catch up and just gab and watch TV. And we both have ADHD. So I'm sure if to be a fly on the wall, I'm sure was great.
I'm sure it was.
Trying to listen to us
keep a conversation. The three of us conversating was fucking crazy.
Oh my God.
We're all over the board.
Interrupting each other, different things. Like, oh God.
We got Taz and Lorenzo here with us as always. Yep. But the boys are here watching us all excited because they love being part of the podcast. They love the studio.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been a great week. Next week at my actual birthday, obviously it's the weekend of Mother's Day, so we didn't want to do this on Mother's Day, the gathering that we had with friends, because I'm pretty sure everyone's going to make plans for mothers and see their mothers and all that kind of stuff. So next week we'll probably, me and you, will go to the beach or something with the boys and just spend my birthday. As the little mini fam. It's not a beach, it's a coast. It's 100% a coast. Very, very excited for that. And I don't feel 40, but I'm going to enjoy the last, couple of days in my 30s. But
closing out a decade.
I'm ready to take on a new decade, and the best years of my life yet, because I know that they're going to be great. I'm going to make them great, and I'm going to live great, and it's going to be
great.
So with that said, this week's guest is a buddy of mine who regularly comments on the question of the week. So very excited to have my buddy John as the guest. He's got a lot of great information, inspirational information, and just words of wisdom that he shares. So make sure you stick around for segment 2 with my buddy John. It's a great conversation that we have. I'm pretty sure we'll have to have him on again because usually an hour is not enough time to get everything or whatnot.
Yeah.
So, but I always tell my guests we need to start with an hour just because people end up like tuning out and people get attention span problems and what have you.
I love long podcasts personally.
I
do
too. I love them myself. So I listen to podcasts now more than music, I feel like, but it's just, I don't know. So we'll start, we'll move on to the question of the week here and move it forward. So this week's question was, what's the biggest lesson a past relationship taught you? It can apply to romantic, friendship, or family relationships. And then some follow-up questions are, what actually happened that led you to learn that lesson? Was it something small that built up or one big moment? How did that lesson change the way you see people now? What's a red flag you'd never ignore again because of it? What advice would you give someone going through the same? So the first one comes in from Val Ferris, and Val says, even if you think your best friend doesn't want your man, still keep her at arm's length. Going on 8 years now with her playing house with my ex and my firstborn. It's awful. I remember her constantly asking mine and his sex life. Weird shit.
Val, that's hard.
Yeah. As someone that has experienced that myself within relationships and friendships, that sucks. It's a horrible feeling because you're not only just losing your partner or your person that you're with, but you're losing now especially a best friend, and that's not easy. And especially someone you're supposed to trust, someone that you're supposed to be able to talk about. I think that's probably why I personally have never gotten close to people again. I mean, I get close, but I don't get that close. I don't share my personal intimate moments with people. I don't let them get too close anymore to my people. Like if I'm with someone, you can be friends with them, I don't care, but like to get like to the point like where you're either spending time alone or messaging each other alone or any of that kind of shit, no, I'm not gonna have that. And in a situation like this, I feel like if a person does this to you, they're not a friend, obviously, and you're just now getting rid of two people that don't deserve your time or energy. So for me, that's the way I kind of looked at it. I was like, all right, well, I got rid of two people that I know I can't trust. Yep. So I know better now, and at least I don't have those people, because who knows what else they could potentially be doing behind your back if they're doing that. If they're doing something so simple as that, they're going to be doing a lot of shit. Sorry I had to go through that. That's not easy.
The next one is from my best friend in Colorado, Amanda. She says, don't allow work drama to become your drama. Do the job, do it well. Go home. You aren't there to make friends. Working in a woman-dominated industry, there is toxic people and toxic energy everywhere. Stay out of it. I've worked for companies where leadership has gotten away with murder, but as you know, workplaces don't protect employees, they protect the company. I've been involved in trying to save an employee who has been harassed. At the end of the day, I tried to stand up for her and report to HR. Looking back, I don't regret helping, but after that job, I told myself I wouldn't get involved in workplace drama or make too many friends because at the end of the day, I'm there to make money. I've met my best friend and very close friends through work. I'm grateful for those people, but you learn how to protect your energy and space and who to trust. And then she says, kiss, kiss, shout out to my bestie, Mariah, best work wife and besties for life. I love you, Amanda. Yeah, her and I, we met, if you listen to past podcasts, her and I met, we worked together for a hospice company back in Denver. And it was like friendship, love at first sight. I was like the front desk person at the time. And she was a CNA at the time. And she just walked in the front door and it was just like love at first sight, friendship. I was like, that's my bitch. And so inseparable since, and it's been like 10, 11 years.
I love that. I mean, here's the honest to God truth is she's right. Like not everyone's your friend there. And I had to learn that the very hard way because I'm one of those people that I used to be very trusting and I was like, oh, I want to be friends with everybody. And then you try to take on everybody. That just doesn't work like that. There's some people you just need to keep at arm's length and they're work people and you can be friends with them at work, but getting outside or letting them know too much of your personal stuff is it's never a good idea. And I've got some friends still from my jobs that I've become close with and there's no regrets there whatsoever. But I think too many times people get so involved in their work friends that they let them, that's like all they hang out with and that's all they're around. And that in itself, I think causes problems. Then all you talk about is work. And it's like, dude, you're not on work time. Why the hell are you talking about work? Like, It's not
Well,
good.
and then too, I mean, just from like the HR side and like investigations and whatnot, like I think I mentioned on like the last podcast or before, it's like if you're involved in like a cliquey office and you do something to betray that clique or whatever, they turn on you and they'll go right to HR and say, you did this, you did that.
And then someone
And I have
always
proof.
And then someone always will like rat on others to save themselves. And then there's always some sort of group chat or some pictures or something that happened that can get you in trouble, like, and
Oh yeah.
I'd rather hang out with my friends that are outside of work or that I know are not involved in my job. So that way, if something happens, they can't just be like, well, I work there too. And then this happened and then things all like, it's just not worth it. It's dumb. It's really stupid to get involved.
And to piggyback off what Amanda said too, I mean, that's what's hard with healthcare is that it is a highly female dominated industry. And I mean, I'm not saying men are perfect, but whoa, women are just, men can be toxic, but women can be very toxic and like the mean girl catty bullshit. And then people think, oh, I'm being bullied. I'm like, well, if you've ever Googled the true definition of being bullied, you're not, but there's a mean girl situation, which also isn't okay, but it's not necessarily harassment or bullying or a hostile work environment. But that also needs to be addressed too. So it gets sticky.
At the end of the day, you're there to work. You're paid to do your fucking job. Just shut up and do your job, like, and just shut the fuck up.
Dudes, get the fuck out then if you're miserable.
Yeah, people
ruin everybody else's life because you're a cunt.
yeah. People, unfortunately, like I've talked about this on past podcasts, where they let their job consume them, and that's who their identity is. Like one thing I don't understand is people that put their job in their profiles, like on Facebook and shit like that. Like, you want people to know where you work? That's pretty stupid, especially since there's a lot of people that can easily find you. And then, like, if they want to cause problems for you at work, they can easily do that. If they don't like something that you posted, or if you like something, God forbid you like something, a post or something that maybe they don't agree with, they'll turn you in. They'll call HR and they'll be like, hey, this person represents this, and they're a part of your company. They have it on their profile that they work for your company. Is that what you guys share? Like, are those your thoughts? Like, there is catty ass fucking people that will do that kind of shit all the time. And
or if you call out and you're friends with people in your office and you're posting pictures and stuff,
they'll rat that out too.
Screenshot it and they send it to HR. I'll tell you.
People are stupid though. They don't pay attention to that. They forget that once you post it online, it's on there forever.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I would hope that by now in school they're teaching kids about like common sense, like to be safe online and to not be posting things that you might regret later and that kind of shit. But I doubt that they do anything like that.
It's a school system. They don't give a shit. They want you dumb.
Next one is coming in from Ben Gifford, and he says, my past relationships/friendships have taught me to not go out of your way for others not willing to reciprocate. You can only give so much of yourself before your cup is empty and you have nothing to refill it with. I've gone out of my way for several people I cared about, even went so far as to be dad for someone else's kids, all while she was sleeping with other people during her shopping trips that would take 4+ hours to do. Jesus, yeah, fuck that, dude. Sorry, Ben.
Nope.
That's some bullshit, dude. Like that's not cool. And when that happens, it's like, okay, what you got to think, this person like this is probably using a lot of people to see what they can get out of them. They're sucking their energy out and money and whatever else. That's scandalous shit right there. Fuck that. Like, and unfortunately, there's people out there that look for people like this that do nice things and just are trying to do a good deed or caring about you, and they don't care about anyone.
Right.
They're just looking at what they can get out of you, and they will get everything they can up until you cut them off or whatever. Then they'll try to switch it around and say that you are the problem or that it's you or it's all in your head or some shit like that. And that's what pisses me off. But definitely agree with this. I would agree with not going out of your way to be there for people that will not do the same for you. I've learned that a lot over the last couple of years, especially. And I've cut people off a lot. I've cut off a lot of people where before it was like, they're a best friend or they're this, but you realize like, hey, guess what? I'm the one putting in the effort. I'm the one that's going above and beyond to be a good friend. And you don't do the least bit of like just kind of showing up for me. So fuck you. I ain't doing that no more. And I don't do that no more. I've learned to not be like that. Now I'm selfish. I'm selfish. I'm about what I want, what I need, what's good for us, like our family, our immediate family here. I don't worry about what people think of me or being the most popular or any of that kind of shit. I could care less. But the friendships that I value and I treasure are the ones that I pay attention to little things. If I show up for something for you, I expect you to show up for me when I have something like that. And if you don't, like they say, silence sometimes says more than words or anything else. If you don't show up for me, that's like, all right, I know I'm done showing up for you. Don't ask me. Don't ask me to show up for you because I won't. And if you do, guess what? I'm just not going to show up.
Yep. Absolutely. The next one is from Brandon Sills. The biggest thing I learned was from my ex-best friend. At one point in her life, she shut everything and everyone out that jeopardized her zen and refused to grant audience to anyone who had a known history of doing as such. Then there was the calmer years and kind gestures and everything else that flourished despite also having that crazy humor. Evolution was the process. However, like I had mentioned a couple times with you before, she had her downfall and is facing at least 4 years or more in jail or prison for her recent actions, culminating from leaving here and almost sticking the landing completely where she is now. Her bad actions taught me that even the best people in your life can sink low enough to damn near take you with them without you realizing how bad it really is. It reinforced the good I borrowed from her since the mid-2010s and softened the blow of disappointment when I discovered, while probably on substances, she viewed me as less than. I don't know if it opened a third eye or red flags or not, but I now can choose to deal with less bullshit from people. And if you got someone hitting a rock bottom bad and you are oblivious to how bad it really is, be empathetic to their suffering, but be extremely reserved in helping any past helping being an ear. They need hard lessons to establish their rock bottom and find their way back, which is not your responsibility. True. If they aren't saying I have a problem, eventually they will say you are the problem, or more or less. Perhaps that's informative as I can be with it, as it's still an ongoing thing. I'm studying and squeezing more lessons out of the dying lemon to be metaphoric about it. Oh, that's hard. I mean, because like it goes both ways: relationships, friendships, just relationships, and especially if someone's fucking spiraling. I mean, it's hard to watch and it's hard to be a part of, because if you're not careful, they can take you kind of down there with them.
They will. People like that will
And they
take
will
you
try,
down with them,
and use you, and depending
depending,
on
yeah,
what it
because
is, but
I mean, you hear about it all the time where someone was, just because you were associated with someone, or maybe you're in the same car as someone when they're getting busted for doing something they shouldn't be doing, and just because you were there, now either A, you have to be a witness, or B, you're guilty by association, you're getting charged with something less than maybe. And I'm just thinking extremes here. But I'm also thinking about someone that, if you're, let's say that someone has, we're just going to say, a drug habit. If they have a drug habit and you're constantly, they're hitting you up for money and you're giving them $20 here, $20 there, $50 there, whatever, to try to help them because they're making you feel sorry for them. You're not helping them really. What you're doing is you're feeding their drug habits, because they're using, one way or another, they're using that money for drugs. If you know they're on that path, even if they go buy food with that, they're whoever else is giving them money or however else they're getting money, they're getting money some way to get their drugs, to get their fix. And you're not helping. Like he said right now, you need to let them hit a rock bottom. You can be an ear for them, but you kind of just need to let them figure it out, and they need to admit that they have a problem. I've said this many times. It's like, you cannot force someone to change or take accountability, any of that kind of stuff, until they're willing themselves to say, hey, I do have a problem. They may say they have a problem, but what are you doing about it? If you just say I have a problem, or you don't acknowledge you have a problem and there's nothing, you can't ever expect things to change until maybe they do hit a rock bottom, and then maybe they will acknowledge it themselves. But at the end of the day, it comes down to that person that's going through this shit needs to hold themselves accountable and be like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want to be this way. I want to fix this. And then they need to take action. They need to acknowledge it first, and then they need to take action. If you don't take action, nothing's going to change. Tomorrow is too late, and you can't change the past. What you can do is change now, and you can move forward, and you can start doing even little changes at a time will add up. And before you know it, you're going to look back and be like, wow, that was a month ago that I was there, and look where I'm at now. Wow, a year ago, and now I'm here. Like it starts with you taking accountability and you acknowledging the fact that there's a problem, and then coming up with a plan of how you're going to fix that and how you're going to move forward. And being an ear for someone is one thing. It's another thing if you start taking on their problems and now they're affecting your life and how you're living and all that. And that's nobody's. As grown-ass adults, you can't let yourself sink into other people's shit, period.
And then the next one is from our friend Kira Semberborn. They say, my past relationships taught me that you can learn from every person on the planet, especially what not to do. Humans are not toys. That is absolutely true, especially what not to do.
I mean, relationships teach you.
Yeah.
There's always something to be learned, and that's why I think I've said this many times in past podcasts, is that I don't have any regrets for any of my past relationships, no matter how bad or toxic or how ugly things got. There was a reason for those people to be in my life, for those women to be in my life that were in my life, and I learned a lot from them. And I never, no matter how bad it was, I never didn't take anything from it where I'm like, okay, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to change this. I'm not going to accept someone that's like this in my life. I'm not going to put up with this. I know I can't be compatible with someone that's this way. I take something from it, and I make sure that I leave a winner. It's not a loss. It's a lesson. So that L is a lesson. It's not, the only time it's a loss is if you don't learn from it, you keep making the same mistake over and over. That's a loss. That's an L.
Because you can lose everything, and multiple times. I've seen it.
And I don't live with regrets either. And that's why I always say, like, I with these lessons, they're experience. And then my hope is that I can share them with other people, with friends, family, social media posts, music, these podcasts, these conversations that we have, that maybe someone else can learn from it, or maybe someone else can take some advice from it and apply it to their life in one shape or way, form or another. And then at that point, it's like I'm passing the torch on to somebody, and it's not just sitting, in dead space.
Absolutely.
The next one is from John Gilman, and John says that no matter how you may feel, you can't control how others feel. Focus on you, God, what's important in life, and what's meant for you. We'll never miss you. It took the person I thought I would spend my life with, breaking me to a point I didn't know I could be broke. But I came out from it with a greater understanding of myself, and it brought me to God after 20 plus years of being a devout Satanist. The breakup totally changed my life for the best version of me yet. I love that, John. That is awesome, John.
God is always the way.
And I always encourage people that I don't preach any type of specific religion on anybody, but find what works for you.
Yes.
That brings positivity to you in your life and brings you peace, and that's all that matters. And building a relationship with a higher being is a personal thing. So I always tell people, I'm like, what's yours? I have no business telling you you're right or wrong, or arguing with you, or telling you that that's a stupid thing to believe. If it works for you, it doesn't affect anybody else, you're hurting anybody else or whatever, that is great. And it's a relationship with your higher being, I feel, is personal, and no one else you don't need to answer to anybody else for it. And I'm glad to see that you've taken on something from this and been able to turn it around and bring positivity.
Absolutely. The next one is from Steph K08. They say, never give too much of yourself too soon. Always listen to your gut and what your body is saying. I've learned most of the time your nervous system knows before you do. And I always say, if someone wanted to, they would. And if they don't know what they want, they don't want you. That's absolutely it. Yep.
Doesn't get more straightforward than that.
I think we've all experienced something like that.
I hate when anyone says that they don't have time, or that they whatever. Like, when people have excuses, I lose all respect. Just get straight to the point, dude. If you are not able to do something, if you can't commit to someone or commit to a job or whatever it is, a task, relationship, whatever, just be blunt. Don't make excuses. You don't need to. Let that person move on, figure it out on their own, get the job done themselves, or move on to another person if it's a relationship type of thing. If someone loves you and truly cares about you or truly wants to be with you, they're going to do. They're not going to make excuses. They're going to be, oh, my past this and my past. No, they wouldn't even be talking to you on that level or be intimate with you or dating or any of that kind of shit. It's just a way that people use, I think, to get what they want out of you and then not have to commit or move forward. And so, yeah, I 100% agree here with Steph K. The next one is from another Stephanie Bessett. I've learned that it's okay to walk away from someone, even a relative, if they refuse to respect your boundaries. It took a long time for me to understand that and to stand up for myself.
Good for you, Stephanie. Yes, I say this all the time. I mean, you can break up with people, even your family. Just because you're relative doesn't mean that you have to be close to them. If they're toxic and bringing you down and, don't respect the boundaries that you set, it's okay to it's done. Why? Just because you're blood or whatever, you're going to let them just ruin you and your mindset, your mental health? No. They're the ones, if they can't see that and they don't get help to help their issues and what they have going on to deal with and to be nicer, then let them go.
Cut them off. And then if they come to you and they want to fix things, make things right, you can hear them out, or you can say, no, I don't want to deal with you anymore. You burnt your last bridge with me.
We all have free will.
Yeah.
Always remember that.
But I love that Stephanie here, it looks like, has stood up for herself and set boundaries and all that. And that's I think that's very important key for your mental health and for your well-being.
Absolutely.
I'll let you go first since I went first last week on this. So for the questions of the week, your answers.
I want to say, what's the lesson a past relationship
The biggest
taught
lesson.
you? What's the biggest lesson a past relationship taught you? Well, I mean, my marriage, I learned that you don't just, and granted, this does work out for some people. Unfortunately, did not me, which thankfully, because then I wouldn't be with Perez now. But we got married really fast. We got married after a month. And I only saw him on the weekends during that month. So it's like I didn't really know who I was marrying. So I think it's just marriage is a big deal. And I think it's just one of those things where it's like I didn't pay attention to like how real it is or respect how real it is and just jumped into something, and unfortunately it turned into garbage. But the bright side, it helped mold me to who I am today. I've learned a lot about myself. I learned that I'm strong, that to have confidence in myself and that I can do anything and I can be the only person that I need if needed. And it also just helps you recognize like abusive patterns. Like I can see it now. I can just spot it like with people, whether it's just like how they are at work or just people passing by and how they're interacting with one another. I can say like, oh, she's probably abusive or he's abusive, or, you can just see the I know you hate this, but the narcissistic traits.
Actions, man. It's actions. Actions don't lie.
And there's like the way they talk, like how people will talk to each other or especially couples and whatnot. And I don't know. It just stands out, and that's a huge red flag. What is something small that built up or one big moment? I mean, abuse. That was unfortunate. Physical abuse. A lot of mental, financial, but there was physical too, unfortunately. How did that lesson change the way you see people now? I don't think it changed the way I see people. I think it's just how I see myself, and to, not be so, granted I was in my late 20s, but just to not be so naive and just, I always want to expect the best out of people, but at this age, it's like, and going through that, I've learned that, sure, you can always expect that, but no, that's not necessarily going to happen. So protect yourself. Don't just let yourself be super vulnerable.
What?
To get hurt.
Because, okay, so I don't think I've ever asked you this, but when you first got married, you said you only saw him on the weekends. When was it when you first started noticing, when you actually acknowledged that there was something going wrong there? Was it like a month in after marriage? Was it a year later, 2 years? Like when was it, and what was it that made you all of a sudden be like, okay, there's a problem here? Because I know sometimes us as human beings, we're like, they were maybe just having a bad day and you write it off. But then when it actually hits you like, holy shit, okay, this is not good. This is probably not good.
That's a great question. I mean, we ended up moving to Colorado, so I knew nobody. So he got me away. So we got married in August, and by March we had moved to Denver. So fairly fast. I mean, a few months, whatever. I mean, there was obviously signs and stuff, but for me, the what stood out that I was like, shit, is like our second anniversary when he kneed me in the face. So that was like, that just like, as dumb as that sounds, yes, there was red flags on issues on both sides. We were heavy drinkers, so that never helps, right? We had many fights. There's been fight nights where I like threw beer bottles at him, like empty ones and stuff, and like would wake up to like a mess or whatever. So obviously that should have been a sign, but it wasn't until that actual physical like harmful thing happened. I was like, what the fuck? It was like my realization, like, what are you doing?
Like it like almost snapped you
yes,
into like
it
reality.
Snapped me back out like into reality, and I'm like, oh fuck.
How long into the marriage did the bottles throwing and the yelling and the more aggressive that you kind of ignored? How soon did that happen?
Happened not long after we got married, because like
how quickly? Like I'm just curious.
Maybe a couple months.
Wow.
But it wasn't all the time. It was just like, it'd be like, or which
crazy
is still
blackout
enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because him and I would just overdo it and then get blacked out drunk and get mad over something little. Usually it was him getting mad and then like being like blah blah blah, and then me being like, fuck you, I'm an independent woman. So obviously there was shit there. I'm not perfect either. Another reason I don't like to drink a lot, because nothing ever good comes from being drunk, right?
No.
So yeah, but the actual physicalness was like the snap of like, and like, you know how you see in movies where it's like something happens and then all of a sudden they just have this like
Clarity.
Flashback of like the last however long of like, oh shit, this was a bad thing, and then they come back into that moment. That was pretty much that.
Were you done at that point? Like, were you already checked out and trying to figure out like, all right, I need to get out of this at some point?
Yes and no. So I mean, yes, but also I was like, I don't know, like I guess maybe like the cliche thing of maybe I can change him. And so then I was like, maybe, mainly I was like, this is when I need to like figure my way out. But also life, and that wasn't everyday stuff. And abuse is wild. It's easy to just get sucked back into it, the like manipulation, like all that stuff, and you just get kind of stuck in it, and they just get you in a weird headspace. I don't know how to explain it, but it sucks. But eventually just got out. It all aligned. What's a red flag you'd never ignore again because of it? Obviously, like not getting married after a month, drinking patterns. I mean, just everything. Just not being naive. You think it came? Kaz is over here snoring. It just came with the young age, and just I don't know. I don't know, just acting too impulsively. What advice would you give someone going through the same? I mean, if you are in an abusive situation like that, I mean, again, I've said it a million times, but you can get out, find all your resources. A lot of times states have resources or women's shelters, or I mean, whatever you got to do, a friend, a relative, whomever you can get out, because it really is, you need to be away from that individual for a long period of time so you can have that snap out of reality, to be away from them for a few days, to have some clarity and really see like, oh shit, this is awful. But because it's easy to be in your mind and think like, oh, this is just every day. Oh, it's not that bad. You can come up with all the excuses. Oh, it was just a bad day. Oh, he has a lot on his mind. There's a lot of pressure at work, or yada, yada, yada. But once you're away from it and can talk to like outsiders, or just even sit with yourself, you can see like, no, this is not good.
Yeah.
This is a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And this isn't good for my health or my life.
And you don't know where you're going to end up. Like,
you don't know where you're going to end up.
It's kind of scary, like to think that,
especially
it might get to the next extreme, which then it gets more physical, and maybe there's knives or guns or whatever involved in it, and that's not good.
Your turn, Perez.
All right. So for me, I would say the biggest lesson a past relationship has taught me, and it's more than just one type of relationship. I think it's more than just a romantic relationship or a friendship or family relationships. I would say what the biggest lesson is for me for all of those things is to maintain and keep respect within the relationship and boundaries. And what I mean by that is that I match the energy that the person's given me. For example, like we were talking about earlier, if someone does for me, I'll do for them. If they don't for me, I'm not going to do for you. And when it gets to a point where it feels like it's a competition, it's time to get out. It's time to get the hell away. If it feels like I'm doing more and I'm giving you a lot more than what you're giving me, why do I need to be in a relationship with you? Why do I need to have a relationship with you? Whether that be a friendship or a romantic relationship, or it could be a family member or a friend, whatever. If I'm always giving, and there's nothing there, you're just taking. Yeah. I don't need to have people like that in my life. I'm better off alone. I'm better off with my close friends that appreciate me and like me for who I am and what I do, and accept me for who I am, I should say. So I think flags that I've ignored from that was just like, you can tell when someone disrespects you. If they're constantly insulting you, looking down on you, questioning you, judging you, you invite them to something and then they don't show up, but they invite you to things and you always show up like that right there. I feel like there's a lack of respect there. And I get it, life happens, so you can't always show up for people on their things. But like, I just feel that there's a lack of, when you can see the signs of a lack of respect for someone. And it's important for you to set up boundaries and say, all right, that person clearly doesn't respect my time or who I am or how I am as a person or whatnot. I don't need to have them in my life. What benefit did they bring? And then you can drop pros and cons of being friends with this person. And I guarantee you're probably going to have a lot more cons. Same with relationships. If you know that you're always fighting and that this person, it feels like you're always constantly making all the effort to make the relationship last, why are you in that relationship? You don't need to have that. Let them go be with somebody else or make somebody else's life miserable. There's no point in holding on to something it's only going to get worse with time. And no one likes it when someone is constantly begging at them or asking them to change or asking them to do this or do that. Like, no one wants to deal with that. So if you find yourself doing that, it's time to cut it off and say, all right, this relationship is not for me. Again, whether that's a friendship, romantic relationship, or a family member. Once really the respect is gone, there's nothing that can save that. You can try to hold on to it for as long as you want, but once the respect is gone, it's only going to be downhill from there. And so I think respect and boundaries are a huge thing for me now that I've learned from relationships. And I try to keep that with anything now, with friendships, work relationships, with our relationship here, with family, and holding people accountable for those type of things. It's like, you can make all the excuses in the world for why you did certain things or why you didn't do certain things. But at the end of the day, I don't care what those excuses are. I'm sorry, it sounds cold and heartless, but I don't care about your excuses. I want actions. Show me by your actions, not by your words, because I don't care about your words. Your words mean nothing to me, period. I'm a man of action and taking action right away and fixing it. I'm not about someday I'm going to change or, oh, one day I'll get to it. No, we're going to get to it now or it's done. It's simple as that. I don't put up with shit anymore, especially now that I'm getting older. I don't have time for friendships like that, relationships like that, family members like that. I don't have time for that. Life's too short. How did this lesson change the way you see people now? Well, I watch people like a motherfucker. So I think we talked about this before. If I have friends that I'm around and all of a sudden they're talking shit about somebody else, and then all of a sudden they're hanging out with them a week later, I'm like, what the like you were just talking shit about that person. I've literally now lost all respect for you as a person. You're shit talking this person last week, talking them down and tearing them apart, and then you're over there hugging them and you're besties with them and you're all over each other and this and that. Like, what in the fuck?
I've seen it too, like
Post too.
or they'll post picture and be like, my best friend. It's like, ugh.
No, that's some bullshit, man. I cannot stand fake ass fucking people like that. It's like, if you don't like someone, I get it. Stick to it, be true to it. But if you talk all this mad shit about someone and then you're like best friends with them next week, like, you're a fake motherfucker. Like, and what are you saying about me now? Because I guarantee you that someone like that, when you're not around, is running their fucking mouths about you. So I watch people's actions constantly and I see how they are. I will watch them. If every time someone leaves or is not around, they're talking shit, I'm constantly like, oh, they're one of those people. They love to shit talk and they want to see if you're going to say anything or if you'll jump in and shit talk too. And then they'll go try to twist things around or make themselves look like the good guy and you're the bad guy. It's just dramatic things like that I don't put up with and I don't like to be around anymore. I don't like the fakeness. There's a lot of fake motherfuckers out there. So much fakeness. And I don't know who you're putting a front on for, because most of the time, most people don't care and they see right through. A lot of people see right through that kind of shit because they know people talk. People always fucking talk. So if you're that person that's always got drama in your life or always talking shit about people, everyone talks about it and they know exactly how you are and they see the fakeness. So don't like that shit. And I'm always on the lookout for that. I'm on the lookout for people that are just fake as fuck. Put up with it. What's a red flag you'd never ignore again because of it? I feel like once a person's done you wrong once, you can talk it out and maybe it gets fixed. But if they go back and do it again, at that point, you need to cut it off. You need to end it. At that point, it's just now they're taking advantage of a situation. So it's time to move on and cut ties and let them go do that shit to somebody else that's going to put up with it.
Set them free.
Set them free.
Set them free.
What advice would you give to someone going through the same? I would just say demand respect, demand accountability, and set boundaries and hold them to it. And if they don't, cut them off. And then they know why. You can explain to them if they care to hear, they'll listen. If not, then whatever. Let them go do that to somebody else and see who puts up with it. See how many others are going to put up with someone mistreating them. So I would say that's it for me. That is the end of segment number 1, but stick around for segment 2 with my great conversation that I had with my buddy John, which is up next. Welcome, everyone, to segment 2 of the Liquid Shape podcast. Today's guest, I have someone I actually went to school with and grew up with by the name of John. John, welcome to the podcast.
Good to be here.
John actually submits a lot of information to the question of the week. So I always look forward to see what he has to say because he's always got a lot of good feedback and information. So I'm excited to have an episode here now where we get to discuss and talk about you, John. So go ahead and tell the listeners about you and who you are and your journey.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so my name's John. Last name's Wold. I always spell it out Wold because everybody gets it wrong. Met Cody back in high school. We didn't really hang out in high school though. Like I knew who you were. You're kind of little clique of people, but I was kind of a floater. Originally grew up in a town called Colton, which is a really small town out by Malala. Parents divorced when I was 12. I moved to Scotts Mills. Went to 8th grade in Scotts Mills, and then went to Silverton. And that's where I ran into Cody. And I don't know if you really remember me much back then. I remember you because we're kind of into the same music, and you guys were the cool metalheads.
I remember you from the clique, I remember you from the spiky hair. I would say that I hung out kind of with everybody, and I had my moments like where I would hang out with like X amount of people here, and then like something would happen, and then I'd end up shifting to another group of people, and then something would happen there, and then like I just feel like when I think of high school, I always think of I was a party animal for sure.
Yeah.
But I also went through like phases of hanging out with certain people, and then like for whatever reason I would shift to another group of people, and then something would happen, I'd shift. And so like I kind of went all around basically around the block, but I'd always come back to people again that I was previously friends with. It was like cycles. So, but I do remember you. I remember you had the cool fucking Liberty spikes and shit.
Yeah. I don't even know how that even transpired, the Liberty Spike thing, but I was pretty well known for the hair for sure.
Yeah, I think we might have had a couple classes together. Is how I remember you.
Maybe. I know I saw you in passing a few times. I think we may have had a few conversations. I probably talked to Pudgy the most out of your clique of people, and even that wasn't very much. Anyway, I went to school for a little bit. I got expelled from Silverton. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't. What happened? Let's hear
Do
it.
you remember? Yeah, do you remember the car fire?
Vaguely, yes. The homecoming.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that
I
was
vaguely
me.
remember.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So I'm not much of a dance guy. I despise dancing, but I like the dress up part, right? But for whatever reason, it's probably a self-esteem issue going back from me being picked on and not necessarily beaten up or anything, but my confidence was beaten out of me pretty young, just being picked on, being the outcast as a kid. I never really got any confidence until I moved, because all of a sudden I was the new guy, right? I wasn't the weirdo that sat and drew dragons and medieval shit and whatever. That was kind of me before being in that area. Anyway, long story short, I was hanging out with my friend Corey, and we went to the dance. I don't remember if I had a date or not. I assume I did. But after the dance, we were headed to the McDonald's by Silverton High School, and you walk through the track. There's a part of the fence you can walk through. You walk down the train tracks, and then you get to the McDonald's, and that's where my dad was going to pick us up. And so we're walking out, and we walk past the car. And so for those that don't know, they had this car bash thing. So they would get a car donated from a junkyard, and the high schoolers would pay a couple bucks to hit it with a sledgehammer or a baseball bat or something like that. So it's just there to raise money for the homecoming deal. Anyway, some people ended up flipping it over a couple times, and some people slashed the tires or something. And so anyway, it's just this beat up car on the track. And we're walking through, and my buddy he picks up a piece of cardboard he saw on the ground, and I had a lighter, and we just lit it. We tossed it in the trunk thinking like, this thing's gutted. There's nothing in there, right? No big deal. And then we walked past somebody, which I later found out was Tor. I think was his name. I don't know if you remember who that guy was. But
I do. Yep. He hung out with some of the guys that I was friends with.
Yeah. So anyway, we just kind of lit it, tossed it in the open trunk as we walked by, and then went through the gate, went down the tracks over to the McDonald's, and we're waiting for my dad to show up. And we look behind us, and there's this 25-foot fireball coming out of this car, because apparently there was still the trunk liner was in there, and it caught the trunk liner on fire.
Damn.
And again, we had no intention of causing any. We're not troublemakers. We weren't trying to do anything. We just thought it was funny. Like, it was a little tiny piece of cardboard. Just lit it, tossed it. Didn't think of anything of it. So we look out there. We see this huge flame coming from the track. Officer McGee comes running out there, and we're like, oh no. And anyway, long story short, it was Tor that we walked by, and he turned us in and got a reward. So.
Oh shit. Damn,
Yeah.
You got ratted out by Tor. I didn't know he would do something like that.
Yeah. Well,
damn. Were you planning on telling anybody that it was you, or were you just gonna kind of deny, or like?
I mean, by Monday, they pulled us in the office, so
Yeah.
there was no getting around it. Plus, I'm sure they had security cameras and the other stuff, but.
I love how you see the car that's all bashed, and you're like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna one up it," and you light it on fire.
No intentional lighting it on fire. We just thought it was a funny thing as we walked by. Right? It wasn't even really a thought. It was a quick little impulsive thing that got us both expelled.
Damn.
So anyway, let's see. After that, I think I came back for a little bit after that year, and then I moved to Gladstone. And then after the divorce, my dad went through a big depression. So like the whole time I was in Scotts Mills, my dad was in a pretty bad depression from the divorce, and he was drinking and gambling. And it was literally like my dad would go to the bar after work. And this is, again, in the late 90s, early 2000s, my dad was making like almost $40 an hour.
That's pretty damn good money, especially back then.
It was really good money for back then. And he would just go literally just sit and drink and feed $50 bills into the machines.
Fuck.
And then he'd come home drunk eventually. And he was never abusive or anything like that. He is just that's what he ended up doing. And anyway, we would move to Gladstone after that. So he was closer to work. He worked in Milwaukee, and Scotts Mills is a pretty long drive. Like for it's a little over an hour or something. Gladstone was closer for him, but it was also closer to the bars. And anyway, We were there for a bit, and then he decided he wanted to move out of state and try and escape everything, and my brother went with them. I moved back in with my mom for a little bit with her new husband, who hated me, but he hated everybody. Any male figure in my mom's life, didn't matter what the relationship was, her brother, her dad,
Is it like a
her
jealousy
sons.
thing, or?
Oh,
was it-
yeah, yeah, he was super jealous.
Damn.
And anyway, so I was there for a little bit, and I finally dropped out. I knew I wasn't going to graduate anyway, because I started working when I was 10. Do you remember me bringing the reptiles to the school?
I do. Yep.
Yep. So I used to work for the Oregon Reptile Man. Started working for him when I was 10 years old, and I
Is that-
learned.
Where was that based out of, that reptile thing?
He is originally from Colton as well.
Okay. Did they happen to have alligators at one point or something?
I mean, he does a mobile educational program thing. So it's not a place that you would go. He at one point in time had a reptile museum, like a little exhibit you can go to out by Sandy, but that only lasted like 2 years. And he was losing money the whole time, and he finally got to the point where he was starting to break even. And then the owner of that property doubled the rent.
Ooh,
And
damn.
he just couldn't afford to keep it afloat anymore. But that was his attempt at having a location.
Okay.
But he does like schools, scout groups, libraries, day parties. He does mobile shows. So he brings a bunch of animals, does a show. Anyway, I think I started collecting exotics at around 12. And then by the time I did that show at school, which I don't know, what was I, 15, 16? At that point already had rattlesnakes, alligators, cobras,
Damn.
anacondas.
Dude, alligators are my favorite. Honestly, that's one of my favorite like animals, period. That's
Yeah, I
fucking
loved
awesome.
it, man. I feel like I got to experience a lot of stuff that most people will never have access to. Exotic reptiles was a lot of fun for me. Growing up, I also had pet raccoons, and basically our neighbor was clearing a brush pile, and there was a raccoon nest in the pile, and the mom ran away, abandoned 3 babies. One of them died that night because it got crushed while he was trying to move the pile. And my neighbor didn't know what to do with them, and the mom abandoned them. So my mom took him in and nursed him up, and we probably had him for about 3.5 years. We'd take him camping with us and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, they were a blast.
That's awesome. So you were already hustling from a young age. You were working and
Kind
taking
of.
care
I
of
mean,
business.
it instilled work ethic in me, and it also is part of what helped me pull me out of my shell. Like I said, being the outcast, being picked on a lot, I didn't have a lot of confidence. And so as I'm helping my buddy do his educational shows, I'm having to stand in front of 10, 15, 20, 30 people. And for larger groups, hundreds of people, and assist him. And there's been a few times where I actually had to take over the show because he wasn't feeling very good or whatever. And that helped a lot. Like, again, being forced to talk up in front of a bunch of people helped a lot. And then I did the same thing at the school for biology class. So that was pretty fun. I just got to stand there and show my collection off for the entire day.
Oh yeah, that's a great way to build your communication skills, and like you said, it built you to be a worker, a hard worker, and get you out of your shell.
Yeah, well, and what's crazy about that is that actually almost ended up being a problem. I never really shared it with anybody, but I almost got bit by a baby monocle cobra during one of those. It was really, really close, and I played it off pretty smooth, but that could have been an emergency room visit real quick.
I don't do snakes, dude. I'm fucking terrified of them. Like, even a gardener snake, I am terrified of snakes. I cannot go near them. If I see one, I'm running like a little girl.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, the writing with Rich, that's his name, Rich the reptile guy. That's kind of where I got my work ethic and again, started building confidence in myself and learning how to speak in front of people. And I've been able to use that in a lot of other areas of my life that are un-reptile related.
It's badass. I love that. And so you mentioned in high school you got expelled and all that. You weren't, from what I remembered, you never were a party guy. You didn't drink. You didn't do drugs or anything like that, really.
Nope.
Would you say that it was a lot of like what? Because when you're a teenager, that's kind of a lot of most people. They go to that like to experiment, to socialize, to get out of their shell. At least that was for me, anyways, and a lot of people I was around. What would you say that drove you away from not that curiosity or from not doing that?
I just know, excuse me, I've had a cough for like a week and a half now. Me and my brother are total opposites in that regard. So like, I never really had that much of an interest in a lot of that stuff. And then my little brother, whose name is Jake, he started stealing my dad's cigarettes when he was like 6 or 7.
Damn.
And I forget when he started smoking weed. He probably stole weed from my mom. And then I think he tried meth for the first time when he was 13.
Oh my God. How the hell did he get a hold of that?
I don't know.
That's
Good question.
a crazy age to be getting all drugs.
Yeah. So we led very different lives, right? Like, so I started working really young. I was always pretty honest. I was never a thief, was never interested in drugs, never interested in alcohol. And a big reason why the alcohol thing is I watched a lot of my friends in high school, especially the kids out in Scotts Mills that are going up in the hills and getting fucked up.
I'd go up there and fucking party with them too. Not gonna lie.
Like Dave Smith. Did you hang out with him?
Uh,
Little Dave?
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah. He is, big redneck up there. His dad's name was Dave too. It's kind of funny. Anyway, yeah, so he went down that path, and he was stealing a lot, and my brother ended up addicted to meth and heroin at the same time, and he was breaking into people's houses, stealing people's mail, living in his truck.
Shit.
Like he went down a pretty hard road. He ended up going to prison for 4.5 years
Damn.
over it, and he's been out ever since. He's actually working for me now. I gave him a lot of time when he got out to see what is he going to do with himself, because with what I do now, I couldn't trust him in my customers' homes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the interest level was just never really there for me. That being said, I was always interested in mushrooms, but
Like the hallucinogen
Yeah.
mushrooms, just to clarify.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And part of that is I think that some of those things, when used correctly, are spiritual tools. And I've always been interested in spirituality, and I've always seen that as a potential spiritual tool. That being said, I tried weed one time when I was 16 with my best friend. His name is James, and he'd been bugging me for years and years to smoke weed with him. I tried it one time with him. I think we were 16, and then I never tried weed again until I was in my 30s.
Kind of reminds me of the movie Friday, where Chris Tucker's trying to convince Ice Cube to smoke weed, and he finally gives in.
Oh yeah, I don't know
What
if
was
I've seen that one.
What was that? You've never seen Friday? What? The movie Friday with Ice Cube?
If I did, I wasn't paying attention to it. I'm not.
Dude.
I don't watch a lot of movies.
Okay. A classic movie. You have to watch it. It's fucking, that's where the whole expression "bye Felicia" came from. Like, it's from that movie. There's just a lot of great lines, but yeah, go ahead. Keep going. So I guess when you did smoke, what did it do to you? Like, how did you feel, or did it not affect you? Because sometimes people don't get high the first time, or.
Oh no, I definitely did. It was pretty funny. So again, like I don't smoke. I've never smoked a cigarette, but I guess I kind of wanted to make an impression on James when I tried it, and it was one of those things where I was finally ready to give it a try. Right? And
Yep.
so I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do it today," and he's just like, "No fucking way! Are you really? Okay, I'm gonna clean this. I'm gonna clean this pipe up. It's gonna be nice and fresh. I'm gonna give you a fresh bowl, and you get the first hit." And I was like, "Okay." And so, I like was consciously like, "Okay, I'm gonna take the biggest hit possible." And so
Man.
I just kept going. It was a long, deep inhale, just kept going. And he's like, "Holy fucking shit." And then that made me cough it up, right? So maybe started laughing. And then yeah, we just it was only the one big hit, but then we just laughed a whole bunch the rest of the night, and I ended up falling asleep. So it wasn't a bad experience, but I don't like the idea of smoking things, right?
Yeah.
And then once I got into my 30s, I was finally ready to try the psychedelic route. Again, I've always been interested in the spiritual side of things, and also as a kid, I know that we're not developed. I don't really want to make it worse. I already did enough damage by not eating healthy food and drinking a shitload of Mountain Dew and a lot of fast food and stuff like that affected my development. I didn't want to make it worse with drugs.
Yeah.
And so I think I was 33 when I finally decided I was going to try something. And I reached out to James to see if he could get me some, because he had connections for everything. And then I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about DMT and what DMT does. So my first real experience, minus the one hit of weed I took when I was 16, was DMT.
That one scares me. That one scares me when I've heard about it, like when I was experimenting, just because just people say that it's an ego killer and it's like an out of body experience.
So I haven't hit the ego thing. I've tried it a few times. I would say it's very interesting, and it is the most alien thing you could possibly imagine. So when I did it, again, I was looking at, so the reason why I decided to try these things is I want to dive deeper into myself. I want to learn more about me, and I think these are tools that can help with that when they're used correctly and they're not abused. And so I got enough for 2 trips, and a trip is roughly 50 milligrams. But I was given the wrong instructions. I had the wrong tools to do it, right? So I was told to sprinkle it on top of weed, which I don't smoke, and you're supposed to smoke that, which is a bad idea because it doesn't work. It just ruins the stuff and it tastes terrible. And so I took the second amount and I poured it in the bottom of this thick weed pipe that I bought specifically for this experience. If you're going to do it with a pipe, it's supposed to be one of those really thin glass ones. And so I heated it up and I maybe got like 10% of what was in there. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take 3 hits and hold them. And so I did that. And like I said, I maybe got 15% of what was in there because I was using the wrong tools. But what I can tell you is I did this on a camping trip. I waited 6 days into this camping trip so that way I could forget my life. I could forget my schedule. I could forget work. I could just be in my favorite place with my girlfriend at the time, my wife now. We've been together almost 20 years. And I could just be in the moment in my favorite place when having this so I don't have any other distractions or thoughts, right? What is this going to show me if I don't have these other things happening? And my experience with it was, as I was taking these hits, I was sitting there and I'm sitting next to the fire and our camp is next to a creek. So I'm sitting here holding the final one and I had this thought of, oh, that's right. I remember this. I remember sitting here and I remember Steph being over there and I remember the creek. Wow, I can't believe I forgot about this. Like I'm remembering what I'm doing right now as if it was a distant memory.
Shit.
That I forgot about that I'm reliving.
So it's almost like if you were watching like yourself or watching a movie of yourself or a TV show of yourself. And
yeah. And it was a moment in the movie that was memorable, but you forgot about it because it's been so long. So that's what that was like for me. And I closed my eyes. And a lot, like when you watch, Joe and some of the guys on YouTube that talk about this stuff, they talk about the compounding fractal visuals and all the colors and all that kind of stuff. I've done this a few times, and the first time, the one I'm talking about, is the only time I ever got to that place, is what I'll refer to it as a place. And it is the most beautiful thing you'll ever see. The colors are so exaggerated that there's no way to replicate them here in this world. And there was, for lack of a better term, an entity there that I could not see, but I could feel. It was a female entity. And again, if you look at trip reports and stuff about this, a lot of people talk about this female entity. And all communication is done through feeling. And so, and keep in mind that this trip was 2 minutes, start to finish, 2 minutes.
2 minutes and that's the entirety of the high.
Well, this one, again, I didn't take very much. A regular one should be between 5 and 10 minutes. And if you get beyond 10 minutes, that's referred to as a breakthrough trip. And that's where like the ego death and all that kind of stuff supposedly happens. I've never gotten that far. The longest I've had is 5 minutes. And even that's tough to do. But with this, like I said, the female entity was there and it was almost like a feeling of going home. Right? Like going back to where you're from. And there's just this intense feeling of familiarity and love and welcomeness. And the feeling from her was, it's been a long time. It's good to see you. Welcome back.
Dude, that just gave me chills, you describing that. I was waiting for you to see if you were going to say that because I've been watching a lot of videos about people that have had near-death experiences or that have technically died and what they felt and what they saw on the other side. And then they came back to life. But what you just said right now is exactly what all of those videos these people are saying that they experience. Yeah, like where they feel love, like it's love that you can't describe on here on Earth, but you feel it and you just know it. And there is an entity out there that is like surrounding you.
Yeah, it was quite incredible. And that being said, I've tried it a few other times. The stuff I got later was from different batches from different sources. And I've had different experiences, but none of them have been that place. And I say that place because of the way the visuals were. So the compounding fractal, whatever the way people describe it, basically imagine like the kaleidoscope thing, but it is everything you can see forever. And it is these beautiful, colorful shapes that are morphing and transitioning into even more. Every time they change and morph, they become more beautiful, more colorful, more vibrant. And it is so beautiful that it made me cry. That's how pretty it was. That's the best way I can describe it. Every other trip I've had has just been weird. Like there was one time I did it with another friend who wanted to try it, and I closed my eyes and I saw this like kind of swirling, these swirling visuals with my eyes closed. And closed eye visuals and open eye visuals are different. But with this particular one, everything was like various colors of blood orange. And I had the thought of, that's weird. Why is everything orange? And then again, with my eyes closed, a little window opened up to another world where everything was really bright and colorful. So it was like just a little bubble of a window for like a second. It was like bloop, bloop, and it closed again. Right? It was almost like, well, you didn't take enough, so you didn't get to here, so you're stuck in this place. And to me, it felt like it was fucking with me.
Yeah.
And it just made me start laughing. Right.
Yeah.
Because like one thing that people talk about who do these things is don't expect anything because it's going to show you what it's going to show you. And that's almost what it felt like, is like, yeah, we're just fucking with you right now. So it just
Damn.
made me start cracking up laughing because of that. I don't remember what the rest of the trip was because it was like 3 minutes or 4 minutes, but I don't remember the rest of it. I just remember that particular part. Or there was another place that I've been to twice that the best way I could describe it is almost like, I want to say clown world, but almost like carnival-y, like the way the aesthetics are. It's very strange. And it was exactly the same for the first 2 minutes. Like the way, basically, I would say I woke up on a table. When I closed my eyes, I woke up on a table, for lack of a better term. There's 3 entities there that I cannot see, but I can feel. And they're like, hey, look, it's you. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. And then like you're into another room is the way I would put it. And everything is very straight line. It's very colorful, but it's very straight line, but there's no crazy like compounding fractal structures or anything. Everything's very uh like modern architecture, but in that place. Right? Like, modern architecture, everything's smooth surfaces, straight lines, like modern houses.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, but
Yeah.
does it feel like it's longer than that you're in this world? No, it isn't. Okay.
No, because again, I don't think I've gotten deep enough to get what's referred to as a breakthrough, which is when you get between 5 and 10 minutes. Supposedly, those are the ones that feel like you can live an entire lifetime in the span of 10 minutes.
Are you sitting down the whole time that you're on this high? Okay,
Yeah.
this 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
100%. Yeah. And again, it's been a few years since I've done this, but when I do, there's prep work that goes into it, right? I want to give myself time. I want a day afterwards to reflect. I don't want to be at home where I have to go to work in a day or two. Again, I like doing this where I'm able to leave the regular world behind and be in a good place for a couple days. So I'm not thinking about my schedule and stuff like that before starting this journey. Like I said, these have all been interesting. The first one is the only one that I would say was really impactful. The rest of them were just very strange. And then after that, I decided to try mushrooms. And mushrooms, I would say, have been one of the best things I've done for myself as an adult.
And were those very like extremely different from the DMT? Would you say like
oh yeah, for sure. Well, it lasts longer for one. Right, so you're talking 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours, depending on setting, dose, all that kind of stuff. But for me, they were the most impactful, especially emotionally. But that first experience on DMT was very intense for as short as it was because of what I experienced. Whereas mushrooms get really deep into the emotions. And as a man, we tend to bury the shit out of those.
Yeah. And from just like so the times that I've done mushrooms, I didn't get anything out of it, but I was already drunk. I was already high on coke, high on weed.
Yeah.
And had been smoking a lot. So like,
that makes sense.
Just so they gave me caps, I believe caps and some stems.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel shit. So I was like, this is stupid. But everyone else that took them was like laughing on the ground and all this shit. So I'm like, well, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah. The first time I tried it, I took too little of an amount. The most I've done is 2.5 grams. That was several years ago. I'd like to do 5 grams one of these days. I'm a little intimidated by it because 2.5 is pretty intense. But for me, again, it allows me to open up emotionally. So like even with my relationship with my wife now, because it allows me to drop the guard, it allowed us to open up more on an emotional level than ever before. Because like I said, we as men tend to hide our feelings and our thoughts. Right, we're supposed to be men, and we bottle that shit up because that's what society says we do. Right,
I've gotten worse with age. I don't know about you, but I've gotten worse with age where I don't bottle it up, and I'm just kind of like, you know what, fuck it. Because before, like at least for me, I was always more like, nope, I'm gonna hold this in. Oh, I'm gonna suck it up. I'm gonna suck it up. But now it's like, no, I'm done sucking it up. I'm done fucking. Yeah. But now I'm just like letting it out. If I'm upset about something, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let my friends know. I'm going to let whoever know, even at work. Like I've gotten, and I don't know if it's maybe coming with age and just get tired of doing that. Would you say that? It's happened to
And
you?
maybe that's a part of what's going on here too. But for sure, these at least allow me to dive deep into those emotions and experience them,
Mm-hmm.
and also let the guard down and let them out. Right? Like I I can talk more freely when I talk to my wife and a lot of my friends now, because like, what are they going to say if I say something weird? Like, I don't really care. It doesn't matter. Whereas, like, a lot of times we're afraid of like, oh, well, what would this person say if I say this and they don't like what I say, right?
Yeah.
This gets rid of so much of that, which is
Would you say that it makes sense of like some of the feelings or things that you think about that you don't know exactly what they mean or how they feel or how to explain them? Do you feel like maybe that helps explain them so that you understand them, like what those feelings are that are questionable or that you're unaware of or unsure of?
are you referring to by taking these?
Yeah, by taking them, correct.
Not really, but it allows me to explore them more, right? And so like, I've always been on kind of a unusual spiritual path compared to most people, because most people typically fall into one religion or another. For me, again, it's allowed me to let some of the walls down, right? To open up more, not only with myself, but with those that are around me. And it's also presented questions to me too that I never would have really asked myself. So like, as an example, one of the ones that I think about regularly is I took, it was about a gram or gram and a half, and I was, again, we were camping. I was on a hike during the camp, and partway through the camp, the question it asked me was, or I say it asked me, the question that popped up, I feel like it came from this experience, was how important is what you do? And so for those that are listening, I own an appliance installation business. So I've had a lot of different jobs over the years. I've done construction, demolition, sales, machine operation. I did high-end audio video for a while, which I really enjoy. And a big reason why is I enjoy giving people experiences. And the audio experience, for those that like music, that like movies, it's a pretty emotional experience, and I love taking that and taking it to as far as the situation allows for, whether it's their budget or their equipment or whatever. I'm really good at maximizing that, so I enjoy the experience.
Oh yeah.
And now I own an appliance installation business. So I install dishwashers and microwaves and built-in refrigerators. And I may not enjoy it because I'm not giving people the experience as much, but I make a lot more money.
When did you start this? When did you?
2018 is when I started. The audio video thing, I started in 2010 or so, give or take. And it just got slower and slower and slower. And it fluctuates a lot with the seasons and what's going on with the economy. And there's dead seasons and busy seasons. With appliance install, it is just busy all year. And because I'm a specialist and I actually give a shit about what I do, my reputation is if you're going to do a high-end kitchen package, I'm your guy. Because when I'm done, it's going to be done. And almost everybody in the industry, when they run into an obstacle, like if a cabinet's not the right size or a countertop needs to be cut or something like that, they immediately like, oh, yep, that's somebody else's problem. Call me when that's done. And I'm really good of like, okay, I taught myself how to cut granite. I taught myself how to modify cabinets, how to cut a shelf out and drop it 2 inches if I need to fit a bigger oven. I'm really good at doing all that type of stuff. And so back to this experience, how important is what I do? And in the grand scheme of all the things that are happening in the world, how important is my little appliance install business? And the answer is it's not. It's not that important.
It depends.
I feel like I offer a good service, but to circle back to that, in the grand scheme of what am I capable of?
Oh, okay.
How important is what I do? And the answer is also, it's not that important. I make really, really good money doing what I do. But I consider what I do fulfilling? And the answer is no.
Okay,
and then
I was going to say the person that you're doing it for, it could be like, for them, it's like, oh my God, thank God I have this person that was able to make this happen, or this.
For sure.
So it's a perspective thing, I would say, because.
For sure.
But if you're not feeling fulfilled, like there's still more room, then that, yeah, for sure, that's a reason to push for more.
Yeah. So yes, I do provide a really good service, and I make my customers really happy, especially compared to what is industry state. Like, what do other guys in the industry do? I do a much better job than the vast majority of them, which is why I'm sought after as much as I am. But in the grand scheme of what am I capable of and what do I want to produce? So like, I know your question of the week this week is, what do you want to be remembered for?
Yep.
I don't want to be remembered as the guy who puts in dishwashers, because it's not that important.
But I think it's deeper than that. I think it's deeper than that, because you're telling me right now that you care about quality. You care about, like, so it's, if you look at what really defines you is the qualities that make that business so great is your characteristics, the fact that you care about the quality that you're willing to learn. So it comes down to perspective, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you were to ask me about John, I'd say, well, John cares about quality. He wants to make his customers happy. If he doesn't know it, he's going to find out how to make it happen and how to do it.
Mhm.
So that, I mean, I think that.
And all those things are true, but is that fulfilling to me? And the answer is no, not really. Like,
Okay.
I'm glad I can do what I do, and I'm glad I make my customers happy, and I'm glad it pays really well, and that's what keeps me around. But is this what I want to do for the next 10 years? And the answer is no, I don't want to do this. There's a lot of other things
Okay.
I want to do. And so then the next question it asked me, or that was presented during that particular experience, was, why the fuck are you still doing it? And the answer is money. I do it because of money, because it helps
Yeah.
feed my family and provide a home and this sort of stuff. So, but I think about that every day. Every single day, I think about that one particular experience and how important is what I'm doing and why do I still do it? How important is what I'm doing and why do I still do it? And so at this point, my focus is like, okay, I earn good money. I'm not worried about money. Now, how do I get to something that's more fulfilling? And so that is what I'm focused on now, is starting a couple businesses that I enjoy more, that can eventually replace and ultimately, ideally, outpace the income I'm making now, but are more fulfilling for me. So that's what I'm working on now.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Are those things that you can talk about right now, or is that something that you're working on the back ends that you just kind of are keeping to yourself and working towards to eventually share?
I got no secrets. So as we just talked about, so there's a few things that I've done. So I designed my own cryptocurrency a few years back, and the idea behind it was to take crypto and make it applicable to the average person. And what I eventually turned it into was a rewards point system. For those that don't know, when you shop at most retailers and you put in your phone number to get your rewards points, what you're doing is you are attaching that purchase to a phone number and an email and a name, and then they track, what did you buy? How much money did you spend? What card did you use? How often do you do this? And then it creates a profile around you, and then they sell that information. And as a thank you for all of your personal information that you just voluntarily gave us with this purchase and your phone number, here's 10 cents off on gas, or whatever the carrot is to get you in on their rewards program.
And who do they sell it to? Do you know who they sell? Like, is it to other companies that are similar to them, or companies
advertisers? Chinese companies buy it up.
And I wonder what they do with that, because when you think about it, it's like, why would you so if I go get gas at like Chevron and I
how many times do you go on Facebook and you see an advertisement for something that you looked at or talked about recently?
All the time. All the time. Yep.
Right. And so as they buy these data packets, and rewards is only one avenue that they get this information, but as they buy up these data packets, they search for other data packets that have similar information, right? So like, let's say they got your information from a local grocery store, but then they buy another data packet and they happen to have your phone number or your email attached to Amazon purchases or your Facebook. And they're like, okay, well, these two are the same person. And so they like to shop here, but they also are here. And these are the things they look at on Facebook. What else has either this name or this email or this phone number or something attached to it else out there? And they may get another data packet later and like, okay, so these three people are the same people. And these are their shopping habits. And here's what they like. Here's what they like to look at. So anyway, that being said, the way mine works is my rewards points are cryptocurrency. Basically, the retailer, which I'm going to end up being the retailer for this, which is one of the things that's coming up, would give up a small portion, like 1% of the purchase, in order to buy this particular cryptocurrency off the market. That goes into a rewards account for you and starts to generate compound interest. And because they're cryptocurrency and they're tied to the crypto market, the points never expire. Which is another thing that most reward systems do, is they want to keep you coming back, because if you don't and you don't use your points, you're going to lose them, right?
Yep.
So mine, they never expire. They're tied to the crypto market, and because every single purchase with this particular retailer, in this case, it is going to end up being me. Every time you shop there, or anybody else shops there, a portion of that purchase is going to be used to buy more crypto off the market, which helps drive up the price of that crypto. So it's constantly helping drive it up.
So if it never expires, what is going to encourage the consumer to come back and want to use those in a timely manner versus just stocking them, and then let's say they die, then what happens to that currency or that interest?
Then it stays locked up forever and it can never be sold, but it helps lock the price in at a higher price point. So for those that know crypto, like you hear about burn wallets. So the idea behind that is those tokens or that coin is bought off the market and it's put into a wallet so it can never be sold, right? So that locks the price in there. It now can't go below that point. because that is now taken off the market. So they would effectively act as miniature burn wallets at that point, is kind of how that would work. But, because cryptocurrency can be divided by 0.000000001 or whatever. Like if you lose a few of them over the course of 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years, it doesn't really matter. It's still divisible by so many other decimal points, but it helps lock it in at a slightly higher point because now that account can never be sold. So anyway, that's kind of the idea behind that. There's also a compounding mechanism and a bunch of other stuff built into it as well. So what I did now is I then took that and I attached it to warranty accounts, extended warranty coverage. So, and I've talked to a few retailers. A lot of them find this interesting, but because it's so different, nobody wants to go first. So long story short, my next move that I'm doing, and I have a bunch of other things that I've done in the meantime, but my next move that I'm focused on now is the place that I currently contract with to install kitchen appliances for. When they sell appliances, like let's say they sell you a washer and dryer set, but you have a washer and dryer set at your house that you want hauled away. They'll haul it away for free, but they don't want it. They don't sell used appliances. So there's another guy that has a contract where he buys those from the store and then he either resells them or he scraps them. And I think at this point, all he does is scrap everything. Right. So that's where he makes his money, is on scrap. And I would say 60% of the laundry sets that go back to that store work just fine. But it's like a situation where, hey, you just moved into a new house, but the previous owner left their laundry set. And it's maybe 3 or 4 years old, but you kind of want a new set because you want to start fresh in your new house. So I'm going to buy a new set and I'd like you to haul these away for me, please. And then those are going to get destroyed even if they work just fine. And that's how almost everybody does it. So I'm actually working on getting that contract right now. Owner of this store is pretty motivated to do something different because he's not really happy with his current relationship with the guy that scraps everything because he doesn't keep up his end of the bargain very well. And I'm going to open up a used appliance store. And so I'll be able to resell these things, refurbish them, resell them. So perfectly good appliances aren't ending up in the landfill. And other examples of like why I think this is so wasteful too is like, there's a lot of builders in this area. I'm in Salem, Oregon. A lot of builders build spec houses, right? So they'll build an entire neighborhood and they just put a cheap Whirlpool or GE appliance package in each of these homes. And then let's say you buy the house and you're like, I kind of want something a little nicer than that. I'd like to upgrade from Whirlpool to KitchenAid or GE Profile or GE Cafe, which is usually what people upgrade to, or Bosch. And I'd like you to have these hauled away because I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to deal with people on Marketplace. So these are brand new appliances in these houses that were just built being hauled away. And the current guy scraps all that.
That's wild when they could just like fix like a piece of it or something on it or adjust.
They don't need anything fixed. They are brand new. They have never been used. But The person that moved into the house doesn't want a cheap appliance package. They want something a little nicer. They want a quieter dishwasher and they want a 5-burner range instead of a 4-burner range. And they want a microwave that can air fry instead of just being a microwave. Right. So this is really, really, really common. So I'm opening up my own used appliance store. I'm in the process of doing all this right now. And so with that, I'm going to have my rewards program. And I'm going to be able to offer extended warranty coverage, which is going to use my own warranty plan that uses my cryptocurrency. And so what's kind of cool about it is if somebody buys a warranty from me on, let's say, a 3-year-old dryer, and what's going to happen is the money from the warranty sale is going to be used to buy my own cryptocurrency. It's going to get locked into an account for whatever the duration of the warranty is, 3 years, 5 years, whatever that looks like. And in the meantime, it's going to generate compound interest because of how my particular token works. It compounds. And because every warranty sale is going to be used to buy more of my own token off the market, I'm also driving the price of my token up at the same time. So if I ever have to exercise that warranty, it's in an account that's been growing for a year or 2 or 3 or whatever the duration is.
Kind of like insurance, basically, like insurance companies do.
Yeah, and ultimately it's going to be in a warranty pool. Right? So like for the month of April 2026, all warranty sales are going to be used to buy tokens that go in that one and in that particular account. And that's going to be good for 3 years or 5 years, whatever the warranty period is. And so that account cannot be touched. So they're effectively locked up in that account, cannot be bought, cannot be sold until the warranty expires, or I need to exercise the warranty. And for me, because I'm buying used appliances at a pretty massive discount, as you can imagine, because these are haul-away appliances, if I have to replace somebody's dryer, my cost is really low to replace that dryer. It's not like I'm having it's a brand new $800 or $900 dryer and eat the difference in that warranty. It's much lower. So I can fulfill that. In some cases, I can replace it with an even nicer one than they bought the first time. And it doesn't really matter to me what it is necessarily, as long as it's within a certain price category.
Yeah.
Because I can still fulfill that warranty and take care of that customer, even if it's a used appliance. And nobody offers used appliance like there's very few people that sell used appliances. It's usually scratch and dent, which is new appliances that were damaged during shipping. And those are pretty heavily discounted and they still have a manufacturer warranty. But there's not a whole lot of people that sell used or refurbished. And if they do, nobody offers extended warranty coverage. And I
Yeah.
can with this. And now my cryptocurrency has real world application, whereas most cryptocurrency doesn't. It's all speculative.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't think of a company that does that, so that's pretty genius on your part. I'm excited. I'm excited for you for that. That's
Yeah, I mean,
That's
this is several years in the making, right? So I came up with the idea. I went ahead and spent the money to create it and fund it and all this kind of stuff, and then it just kind of sat. And I talked to a few retailers, and they find it interesting. It's a cool idea, and there's nobody else doing it, but everybody's too chicken to go first, right? They want to see this proven before they risk it. And unless you have $1 billion backing whatever your product is when it comes to any kind of warranty or insurance, nobody will touch it.
Have you talked to any of the other, like, aside from talking to like maybe people that are with these homes and whatnot that are getting rid of these appliances, have you talked to any businesses that, maybe get the returns that they don't want to have to deal with it themselves, like LG or any of those companies where you would purchase it from them or take it from them and then have it at your store?
That might be a future step. Right now I'm going to focus on used because the profit margin's really high because because my cost to access these is super low, and I'm still able to sell at half of retail, which is still a good deal for the people that can't afford or don't want to afford paying full retail for stuff. Specifically, one of my main targets for this business is actually going to be people that own rental properties, because if you own a bunch of rental houses or a bunch of apartments or something like that, your tenants don't give a shit about anything in your home.
No, they destroy it. They run through it.
They destroy it, right? So why spend $3,000 on a brand new Whirlpool or GE kitchen package when you can get it for half of that off of Marketplace
with the warranty?
Well, now they could get it from me at similar to Facebook Marketplace pricing, but now I offer delivery, installation, haul away, and warranty.
Warranty, yeah. I was going to say that's a pretty good deal.
And then another thing I'm also doing, this new store that I'm going to open is going to give me a platform for is appliance leasing for rental properties. And I'm pretty excited about this one. This one's going to cost me a bit more, but if you're going to build a new set of apartments or fourplexes or whatever, a big part of that bill is the appliance package, right? Especially for apartment complexes. Some of these apartment complexes that I do down here in Salem, the appliance package is $750,000. And when there's a problem, let's say, for example, your dishwasher stops draining as a tenant, and you get a hold of the property manager or the property owner and say, hey, my dishwasher's not draining. How fast can they solve that problem for you? And the answer is it takes weeks in a lot of cases, right? Because they're going to call their maintenance guy or a handyman, and he may be there in a day or 2 or 3. And if they can't fix it, then they got to call a repair place, and they may also be there in a day or 2 or 3 or 5, and that's going to be $150 for them to come look at it. And then they're going to say it's going to be $350 to fix this. But we got to order parts. And so, okay, let's do that because it's going to be $700 to buy a new one and have it installed. Okay, so we're going to order parts now. That's going to be another week. Yeah. And then they're not going to schedule to come back to the house until they get the parts in hand. And that might be another day or 2 or 3 or 5. And hopefully that solves the problem. And in a lot of cases it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So they're stretching this out for weeks, which ultimately pisses off the tenant because they're trying to save a couple $100. And so the way my program works is if you're leasing the package from me and there's a problem, let's say the dishwasher stops draining or the fridge dies in the middle of the night, I'm just going to replace it within 2 days with another one. And if it takes me 3 weeks to order parts and fix it, that's my problem. But your tenant's up and running right now. And because I'm using the same appliance package for all my leasing, I can use them on another property once they're done.
Yeah, everyone and everyone nowadays, they expect now. So I was just gonna say, if you have that on hand, they're gonna be like, all right, well, wait, I can rely on John's company to handle that for us.
Yeah. It's the whole purpose is to streamline that process and keep the tenant satisfied, because the tenant ultimately, which unfortunately, a lot of landlords and property managers don't really take into account because they're all money-making machines, but the tenant's the one who pays for everything.
Yeah.
If you don't have a happy tenant and they decide they don't want to pay or they want discounts because you took 3 weeks to fix their whatever, like that's now more money out of your pocket because you're trying to save a couple $100 here. It may end up costing them more because they're dragging this whole thing out. So this is designed to streamline the process, keep the tenants happy, generate cash flow for me, and then I can solve the problem within a couple days to keep the tenants happy. And anyway, so that's another thing I'm focused on. And by having this store because I've also been talking to a couple retailers about giving this as an option, right? Like, you can finance your appliances, you can buy new ones. They have a lot of different offerings, but nobody offers leasing. And so this will give me a platform to just do it myself, since again, it, it's hard to get people's attention when you're trying to do something that's new and different in the industry.
Yeah. And everyone, like you said, they want to see someone else do it first. And then what they'll
Yep.
do is they'll see that if it works, and they're like, all right, well, how can we do this to compete and take it
Yes.
up another level? And
Yeah.
it's one of those, it's like that for anything. I would say one thing I love about you, John, is that you are definitely a thinker and you are a go-getter. And I feel like a lot of people, they want to start their own businesses. They want to go chase for their dreams. They want to do things that they don't necessarily have the knowledge for or the confidence to go for. Where would you say that you got that from, and where would you say, like, how would you recommend it to someone that maybe is wanting to start their own business or just afraid to push the button to move forward with something? Like, what would you say to those people that may need some, like, that extra just push to go for going after something that they really want, but they just kind of are held back by people in their lives that tell them, no, I can't do it, or you can't do that, or you need to focus on this, or what have you?
Well, first of all, don't listen to everybody around you. For one, my circle is really small, and even as I have ideas that pop in my head, I try and share with some of my friends, and a lot of them think that they're over the top and they're ridiculous and whatever. Like the crypto thing, right? Like I got very little support from a lot of my friends on it because they just don't get it.
I was gonna say it probably went a little bit over my head, even like just listening to it, because I don't know too much about it. So
it goes over most people's head. And really the inspiration for that particular project was another one I invested in that unfortunately there was 3 owners. One of them was dipping into the liquidity pool, which is where all the money that gives it value is held. And they were building mansions with it and they got shut down. But I liked the structure of how it worked, but it was kind of a weird project. But for me, I looked at it as like, okay, if I become a fairly large stakeholder in this particular project because of the compounding aspect of it, and this ends up taking off, the amount of money I would make in compound interest could replace my income within a few years, right? So I could keep my initial amount in there and just sell off the gains and have that be my new income. So that was so I liked the structure, and I was like, well, how do I take that and how do I apply it? So back to your question about what can I say to people? I mean, the first thing is you got to find what are you passionate about, right? Which I don't think most people really explore too much. Most people are stuck in the world of
survive.
Survive, right? I got to go to work. I only make this much per hour, and I can only barely afford my rent. If you have a mortgage, then they can barely afford the mortgage. And if you got kids, you got to keep food on the table and insurance and all the bills and all this kind of stuff. So they're so stuck in keeping that alive that most people never allow themselves to ask, what could I do that's more? Or what do I actually want? And so I guess that'd be the first thing is ask yourself, what do you really want? Or like the question of the week for you, what do you want to be remembered for, right? Do you want to be remembered as the person that worked long days and that's it?
Yeah.
And then once you kind of sit in that, and it may take a long time. It took me a long time to discover what I was actually passionate about, which is ultimately giving people experiences, which that's a future thing. But I need a stair-step way to get to where I really want to go, and what I just shared with you is part of my stair-step process to get there. But when you find something that you love or you're passionate about, and you share it with your friends, if you have people that don't support it, that's okay. But learn from why do they not support you? Like, what is it about what you're saying that they don't like? And does that have anything to do with you, or is that all them projecting onto you? And
or don't worry about it. Or don't worry about it.
Or don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in my case, a lot of the lack of support was projection, right? Because they were unhappy with what they're doing. And that's a wild idea. And they could see this is what that could lead to. But then they look back at their life and they're like, well, that's unreasonable. So for example, one of my friends from Gladstone High School, we were talking about the potential of kids, right? And this was a long time ago. I didn't have kids until I was in my 30s as well. One of my things that I've always told everybody is I don't want to have kids until I'm earning 6 figures by myself. So not combined income, by myself. I want to earn 6 figures because I don't want to be in a position where I'm just earning enough money to survive and now I have a kid and now I can't even afford that. And I either need to move in with a family member or get on government assistance or any of that. So that's always something that was a goal of mine. If I'm going to have kids, I have to make enough money that I can still afford to do things I want to do and raise a family and not only be stuck in survival forever. or less than that and not be able to provide the proper education for my kids, proper food for my kids, a proper home for my kids. And one of my friends from high school, when I told him, I was like, I'm not going to have kids until I make six figures. And he's like, well, that's unreasonable. That's unrealistic.
And that, like you said, projection. It's
projection, right? Because he never, because to him, six figures was so far outside of his reach, or what he believed was his reach, that was an unreasonable expectation. Well, long story short, I hit that.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
And then some. And then at that point, it was like, now that I'm earning this much money, I need to start thinking about adult stuff like life insurance. And if I'm going to get life insurance, my girlfriend as a beneficiary doesn't look good on paper. And we've been together at that point for 13 years. And if we potentially have a kid in the future, the dad as a boyfriend doesn't offer me any legal protection. So that was actually my push to get married. It had nothing to do with like why most people do, which is usually a religious thing. To me, it's a piece of paper. I don't hold any value in that at all, other than the legal side of it. Because it helps with tax status and all that kind of stuff. We got married, and it was kind of funny. So I made the decision. I proposed to her. We got married within a month, and we weren't trying for kids, but that was the first time we weren't not trying. And literally 5 days before the wedding, we found out she was pregnant.
Shit, nice.
So that was pretty cool. And yeah, we just wanted to do the courthouse. Again, neither of us necessarily believe in it in the religious aspect of what marriage is. It's a legal document. We love each other regardless of what the state says.
And that's what matters. It's all that matters.
And so we were just going to do the courthouse thing, and both of our families were like, no, there's no way you can do that. We have to be involved and whatever. So we're like, okay, we'll get a venue. And she found a really cool place. I rented my tux for like $120 because I'm never going to wear it again. And she was going to get a cheap dress. She ended up spending like $1,500 on the dress. And I was like, if you're getting the dress, I'm getting a cool car. And she's like, okay. So I rented a Ferrari for our wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't know anybody else has rented a Ferrari for their wedding.
That's fucking badass, dude.
It was cheaper than the dress.
Hell yeah.
And I got to have it for 3 days. And what was also cool about that is because I have a pretty good standing here in the Salem area, I know a lot of builders and a lot of their families. One of the builders' sons owns a restaurant in Salem. And we used to eat there pretty regularly. We don't so much anymore, but we still talk to him. And I was telling him like, hey, I'm going to be renting a Ferrari. I didn't tell my family or anything, but I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm renting a Ferrari for the wedding. And this is kind of what we're doing. We kind of want to have the reception here, right? So I'd like you to cater for the wedding, and I'll pay for it. I'll pay for all of it. And he's like, I'll do you even better. So you're renting a Ferrari, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, if you let me borrow the Ferrari for 1 hour so I can shoot a commercial for my restaurant, I will give you my cost on the entire meal.
Damn, that's a good deal.
Yeah, for I think it was 37 people. That meal cost me $486.
Damn. That's pretty badass, dude.
And that was appetizers, drinks, full course meal. They had a bunch of experimental appetizers they don't normally have available, and desserts. So it was all of that awesome. For under $500. And he got to have his commercial, and I got to enjoy Ferrari for the weekend. It was great.
It's fucking awesome. All right, man. Well, we are hitting over an hour now. So is there anything else you'd like to share? I'm pretty sure I'll have to have you back on the podcast again because the time went by really quick.
It did, and yeah, I'd love to be on again. Love shooting the shit with you. It's been a while since I've well, I guess it has been long. I say at the King show. Well, you played with King, but yeah, I don't have a whole lot. I kind of shared kind of what I'm doing right now, and none of that is officially a thing yet, but it will be probably by the time I come on again if you have me on again.
Fuck yeah, I love that. Well, thanks for being on here, man. Thanks for being an awesome friend and sharing your experiences and your guidance to the listeners. And again, thank you for you're one of the contributors to the podcast. So mad respect and thank you for the support. And everyone, I will have links to what John puts in the description to get in contact with him if you need work done and you want to hit him up and follow him on the socials. So everyone
absolutely. And as far as supporting you, man, I have some friends that talk a lot about doing stuff. You're one of the few people I know that actually does stuff.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And you stick with it, and that is why I want to support you so much. That's why I am a paid subscriber, and I also donate to you.
I appreciate that, dude.
I want to see you be successful more so than you have been.
I really appreciate that. I'm one of those guys that like there's days that I wake up and I'm just like, fuck, do I have to do this? Do I want to really do this? Like with the band or with the podcast or both and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's like, yes, I do. There's days that you're not always going to be like 100% sure that you want to do it, but you just have to push through those days. Just like with working out or eating clean or anything that you do. It's one of those things that it requires you to push through those days. And then those days when you're feeling good and you're all amped about it, you're like, yeah, a couple of days ago when I wasn't really feeling it, I'm glad I pushed through it because look at me, I'm here, and it would suck if I would have given up or if I would have just thrown in the towel on that. And at the end of the day, like the question of the week, I want to be remembered as someone that follows through with things, that holds himself accountable, that pushes through the tough times. And it's the journey really that I love personally when I'm going through shit, is the journey to get there, not necessarily the destination always, that gives me fulfillment and makes me happy. So thanks
Absolutely.
for being on the podcast.
Yeah. I guess as a final thing, since it just came to me, the question on what would I say to people, you become the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You want to surround yourself with people that are winners, right? If you surround yourself with people that are constantly down on themselves or down on people around them, they will keep you down. You want to surround yourself with people that are doing stuff. You're a good example of that. You're actually doing things. By extension, people that are close to you are going to be elevated by you.
I love that. Yeah, the energy that you keep around you is what will surround you, obviously. So
for sure. So
thanks a lot, John. Everyone
absolutely.
Have a great rest of your evening or day, week. Keep kicking ass. And thank you, John.
Absolutely. Have a good one. I'll catch you later.
And that is the end of segment number 2 with my guest, John Wold. Thank you so much, John, for being on the podcast. Thank you so much for being a monetary contributor to our podcast as well, along with our friend Eric Sheets. Both of them contribute financially to the podcast. It does cost money to get this thing, keep this thing moving forward with editing software and uploading and all that fun stuff. So if you are able to contribute, please, any amount is helpful and no amount is too small. So you can find out more about that in our links to our Buzzsprout. There's a link to be a contributor. If not, we just appreciate you guys that take the time to listen to this podcast every week. I am very thankful. And all of you that respond, exactly, like the people that respond to these questions of the week. I love these conversations. They help us talk things out and reflect, and hopefully help some people out there as well when they might read of a situation that maybe they're relating to on that. And with that said, that is the end of our podcast this week. So make sure you tune in for next week's podcast and spread the word about us. Again, please go check out American Overdoses, My Endless Battle song and video. I love you guys all. We love you guys all. Have a great rest of your week.
Love you. Bye.
Be sure to find us on all social media platforms, follow and subscribe.